Mommy or daddy? You want me to worship your God, but you don't want me to tell me his name, huh? How am I going to pray to him? What do? Every morning I go to wake up and I pray like, oh, dear God, dear God. You're right. He told me he would know I was talking to.
How dare you speak to me like that? Do you know who I am?
No, because you never introduced yourself.
I have come here representing Great Britain.
And I have never heard of Great Britain. Who gave you that name? Well, we did. You called yourselves great? Isn't that a little presumptuous? Shouldn't you wait for other people to tell you how great you are? Huh? Shouldn't you just go around the world and just do good things, good things, good things? Then people go, oh my God, Britain, look how great you are.
Well, I beg to differ. I believe we could do it because we knew instinctively. We are Great Britain.
Well, in that case, welcome to Great India.
No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. How dare you speak to me like this?
Look, you're the one who dares to speak to me, okay? I was here minding my own business in my land. You came over here riding on your skinny cow, telling me that things are going to change. I don't know who you are. All I know is you are really crazy, okay? You're not feeling too right, and I didn't want to say anything, but you look like you're going to faint. In fact, it looks like you have died last week, okay? Something is very wrong with your skin. You're not looking good, my friend. Maybe you should come down. We have a curry. We talk about this.
What are you talking about? I look quite normal.
You do not look normal, my friend. I've never seen anybody with that complexion in my life, okay? You look like you're playing hide and seek with the sun your entire life. I don't know what is happening, but that is not how a person should look, huh? I can see your veins pumping through your skin right now. Do you know how creepy that is? Pumping, 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 pumping. If I was your doctor, I don't need X-ray machine. I just go, what is problem? It is your kidney. How do I know? Because you're translucent. That is how I know.
Damn you! We are going to run this country whether you like it or not.
We are not going to do anything you tell us. You're a madman.
We are going to take it. You're not taking. We're going...
She's all yours. Take. Don't play nice. Take.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can win cool prizes. And by prizes, I mean surprise. There's no prizes. It's a free YouTube video, you greedy. Just click the video, man. Why you want free things on free things?
I never thought I'd say this, but Kim Jong-un up against Donald Trump is a strange situation because you don't know who the crazy person is. Kim Jong-un actually released a statement. The leader of North Korea, he released a statement saying, Donald Trump is a psychopath. I cannot work with him. Do you know how insane that is? For him to send a message about Donald Trump, where he's just like, guys, I'm wild, but I mean, I don't know this guy. And Donald is crazy. People ask me all the time, they go like, Trevor, come on, you're not being serious. I meet South Africans, they go like, Trevor, come on, man, Donald can't be that crazy, man, eh? Come on, you've got to give him a bit of credit, man, something. Guys, that guy's crazy. Then they'd be like, is he that stupid in real life? Then you're like, yeah. Then he's like, so is he stupid like Malima and them? Then I'm like, no, guys, Julius is smart, don't play those games. I know people get tricked by Julius Malema and Jacob. Those guys are smart. Especially Jacob Zuma. People get fooled by him, you know, because he's got that cute vibe. Always giggling. That guy is a master tactician. Look now, vote of no confidence. Survived again. People are shocked. How did he do it? How did he do it? If you watch Days of Our Lives, he's the Stefano De Miro of this game. Every day he wakes up looking in the mirror going, like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives. And a lot of people make that mistake. I've realized a lot of people make that mistake. You think our politicians are stupid. Maybe it's because of how they speak. Maybe it's because of how they sound. You know, Jacob Zuma's smart. Jacob Zuma was the head of intelligence for the ANC during the struggle. Jacob Zuma started the chess team on Robben Island. A lot of people don't know that. He started the chess team. Yeah, that's why he's so good with moving the cabinet around. He's busy, yeah, Pravin, like that, because he's a horse. Check. It's all Donald Trump is not like that. One thing I'll say about Jacob Zuma, catch him in a corner, ask him anything about policy, that guy will rattle it off. He may not know how to read, but he knows what he's talking about. Donald Trump has no clue about any policy whatsoever. He knows nothing about geopolitics. He knows nothing about his healthcare. Every time Donald Trump answers a question, you know he doesn't know the answer because he answers it like he's a contestant in one of his own beauty pageants. That's how he answers it. Every time you see Donald Trump on TV, you can see he's making it up as he's going along. They'll be like, Mr. President, can you tell us about your healthcare rollout and how pre-existing conditions are going to be covered? I know. We're gonna have so much coverage, folks. The best coverage, all the coverage. I'm gonna get it, all of it. It's gonna be so good, great. Some people even say the best. But how is it gonna work? It's gonna work. It's just gonna work, folks. It's gonna work. It's gonna be done. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be done. And the people in South Africa and Iraq and the countries and health and insurance. And we're gonna do all the things healthy with the money and also, thank you. Donald Trump is losing his mind, saying the craziest things. We're gonna build a wall. And Mexico's gonna pay for it. I love how Mexico's like, we ain't paying for shit, man. We might build your wall, but we ain't paying for it, man. Stupid. Donald Trump's just doing his own thing. Everything seems to be going wrong for him. Now he's getting ready to start a war, launch a nuclear weapon. North Korea, they will know. Fire and fury. Fury and fire. Fast and furious. Tokyo Drift. Like no one's ever seen. This guy's gonna blow up the world, people. He's not having a good time. So I correct people all the time. I go, look, man, say what you want about Jacob Zuma. He knows his policy. Yeah, doesn't mean he's getting things right. Doesn't mean he's doing the correct things, but he knows his policy. You can't say they're the same, you know? And say what you want about Jacob Zuma, but he knows how to handle his ladies. Yeah, he doesn't have any problems there. Donald Trump, walking around in public, his wife smacking his hand away. Pah! In public. Do you know how embarrassing that was? Donald Trump was there, trying to hold Melania's hand. She just slapped it away. He tried to grab it and she, pah! And then the second time, he tried to grab it and she just did like a little thing. And everyone was like, are they okay? Are they fighting? I was like, yeah, of course they're fighting. They're having a horrible time. Completely horrible time. And you don't even need to see the video of the hands to know that they're having a bad time. I've had a theory for a long time that Donald Trump and his wife are not in a happy relationship. And I don't want to start any rumors, but I've noticed this. You know, I've noticed it in their speeches. Every time Donald Trump or Melania speak, it seems like they're throwing shade at each other. They're giving a speech, but they're actually talking trash about the spouse. Every time, all you have to do is listen to the subtext of what they're saying. For instance, Melania Trump came out. She made a speech about her platform as First Lady. In America, every First Lady gets to choose what their dream job is going to be, what they're going to be doing to help the country. Michelle Obama says she's going to help kids get healthy meals and workouts. Melania Trump came out, and what did she choose? She came out. No one forced her. She was like, as First Lady, I believe we need to fight against the cyberbullying. All of the people on the Twitter who are saying the bad things, we need to stop them. We need to make sure that they cannot carry on what they're doing. I was like, do you know your husband, lady? And now I realized she was doing it on purpose. They were having a fight. Yeah. She probably got home that night, dropped her keys on the table. Donald Trump was sitting in the living room, turned on the lights. Hi, Melania. I saw what you said about me on the news. It was very not nice.
Oh, hello, Donald. I didn't see you sitting over there. I thought you were watching the cartoons. You know I was watching the news, Melania. I watch all the news. Fake news. So what are you going to do about it, Donald? You want a war? You've got a war. I'm gonna get you, Melania. You're gonna pay. Do your worst, Donald. Oh, it's on. I'm the best at worst.
The next day he came out, gave a speech. What did he say?
We've got to get rid of all these immigrants, folks. All these immigrants need to leave this country. Your move, Melania.
She went to a women's conference.
We need to stop sexual assault. The men who are grabbing the ladies without their permission, we need to...
I was like, yo, you guys need to sort your shit out at home, man.
I remember the worst encounter I had with the TSA was out in Burbank, California. Tiny little airport, and I was flying out and I was coming to New York, right? And so I'm in Burbank Airport and I go through security, and then for some reason I was beeping. I don't know why. I walk to the metal detector and I beep. Go out, beep. Go out, beep. Go out. And every time I have to take something off, I got a beep. And the agent, he's just losing it. The whole time he's like, take that off, take it off. And I'm going like, beep, 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 beep. He's like, take that off, take it off. And I come back, he's like, take that off. He's getting more and more angry. I'm basically naked right now, and he's losing it. Like I felt like an underperforming stripper. It was horrible. He's just like, Finally, he's like, you know what, just get out here, get out here, get out here. So I walk to the side, he's like, go ahead and put your hands up, go ahead and put your hands up. I put my arms up, and he whipped out a little metal, personal metal detector. Yeah, it looks like a midget sword, right? But they call it the wand. That's what they call it, the wand. So he whips that out, yeah, because that $100,000 machine, that's play. Shit just got real. And so he looks at me and says, go ahead and stick your hands up, sir, and just keep them right there. So I put my arms up, and he scans me. He's like, You got any metal objects on you? I'm like, well, then what was that for? If you were gonna ask me anyway, then what was this? The foreplay to my honesty? What is this? Why? And then, as if he can't do this right, he calls for backup. He goes, I'm gonna need you wait. Can we get Velasquez to gate 10, please? Velasquez to gate 10. And he calls for a man by the name Velasquez, who I'm assuming was the best wander that they had. Because he wasn't even on the floor. They called for him, and Velasquez emerged from the back offices of the TSA. And he walked out, and the energy changed. People bowed their heads as he walked past. Everyone gave him a little nod. You could see he was special, and he didn't look like it. He didn't look like much. You know, Velasquez was a little Mexican man, very long mustache, big chest, and he was very short, really, really short guy. But he didn't feel short. Like, he looked short, but he didn't feel short. Do you know what I mean? Like he had this thing. You know those short people that are so confident, it looks like they just chose to grow low. He had that energy. And so Velasquez walks down towards where I'm standing with my agent. My guy tries to apologize. Says, I don't know what's going on. I get silenced him. One move of his hand. He's like, no, I go. And he stepped up, he looked me in the eye, and he's like, sir, you got to stand for side and not get fat for that, okay? Don't touch nothing on the movie, okay? None of that. And I didn't know what he was saying. But I knew what he meant. And so I stood there, I raised my arms. And as I did, he whipped out his wand. And he started using it all over me. And as soon as he did, I knew why he was who he was. It was the most magical thing I've ever come across in my life. The way he wielded that wand was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I felt like I was being blessed. I just stood there with my head down as he went all over me, just blessing me with his power. It was something special. It was like a force and energy. It's like on the outside, you still heard that beeping. It was like, ee, but in my head, I heard a lightsaber. That's what I heard. I heard like, it was like, because he was to me, little Mexican Jedi. fact, that's exactly what he was. He was my Mexican Jedi. Which, by the way, I feel would be a welcome addition to the Star Wars franchise. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I was super excited when I found out they'd be making another one. I was losing my mind. I went back, watched all the movies, and I came to realize that there's no Mexican Jedis, not even one. There's no Mexican Jedis, which is weird. Because when you look at it, technically speaking, Star Wars is a vision of America in a distant future. So, surely it would be safe to say, judging by the current trajectory of Mexican people in America, I'm sure it would be safe to say that by that time, in a galaxy far, far away, there would be at least one. Just one Mexican Jedi. It's not even like it would spoil the story. Who knows, it might open up a whole new avenue. Can you imagine how different that epic scene between Luke and Darth could have been? Them battling it out on the Death Star. The moment of realization. Luke. What do you want, you evil man? Luke. What do you want from me? No. Luke, man. Luke. It's your father, man.
But the pilots are calm, they cool, you know, you get into the air, they start making useless announcements that you don't even care about, you know, just to give you that feeling that he knows what he's doing. You get up there, as the seatbelt lights go, boom. Ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, we've reached our cruising altitude. Currently sitting at 23,000 feet above sea level, cruising at about 720 kilometers an hour in this Boeing 737, one of our favorite planes in the Starflight Alliance fleet. It's a beautiful sunny day up here. We might encounter a few bumps, but nothing too hectic. The cabin crew will be taking care of.
Speakers at an Ivy League college are considered successful.
Flash start.
Good God in heaven, Kennedy Center. What have you done? No award has screwed up this badly since a MacArthur Genius Grant was given to Vin Diesel. Seriously, people have not been this shocked since I won a Latin Grammy. It was 2019, look it up. Shakira and I, killed it. I'll grant you, a lot of amazing, amazing people have flown to DC to say nice things about Adam Sandler. But have you asked yourself why so many of Adam's friends were available to speak tonight? I'll tell you why. Because when Adam isn't working, they aren't working. Everyone speaking on this stage tonight suckles on Adam's teat. There's gonna be so much milk on this floor, people are gonna slip on the way out. I alone can speak with honesty because I've never been in one of Adam's 650 movies. I'm sorry, 652. He made 2 on the way in tonight. Anyway, now technically I was up for 1 role, but Adam called me and said, sorry, pal, I had to give that part to my Uber Eats driver. I was better at first, then I thought, you know, it's good Schneider's working. That is 2 of 75 tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. From me tonight and me alone, you will hear the unvarnished, ugly truth. This whole Twain proceeding is an abomination. Eugene O'Neill called Mark Twain the true father of all American literature. William Faulkner described Twain as our sovereign of the written word. Adam Sandler said, is he Shania Twain's brother?
That's a goodie.
I get it. This is a big night for Adam. It's the first award he's received where he hasn't been slimed, which is nice. You may ask, who am I to judge? Well, I'm going to tell you, I've known Adam since very early in his career. I will never forget that moment we met at Saturday Night Live. This is a true story. I was working late in my office on a Tuesday night in 1991. and suddenly Adam appeared in the doorway. His pants were around his ankles. His eyes were crossed, this is true, and a pencil was sticking out of his bottom. Ah, there he is, I exclaimed. Our Twain. No, Adam is not Mark Twain. But then again, no one is. That is not what this night is about. This prize rightly celebrates giants of American humor, each distinctive in their own way. And in that regard, no one is more deserving of this honor than Adam Sandler. Adam is a uniquely American voice. Big-hearted, joyous, outrageous, angry, absurd, and more insanely prolific than any of his peers. Adam's comedy doesn't preach or instruct. Like Twain, he's down in the muck with us, laughing at himself. He is creatively restless, a giant film star of comedy and drama, who still tours the country like a vaudevillian. I don't know what drives Adam. Frankly, I don't want to know. I'm scared. But he is beloved around the world more than anyone I can think of. He really is.
Hello there, Kennedy Center. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but thank you so much for having me on for this very sad evening, or at least I presume it's sad, because when I heard that Jon Stewart was getting the Mark Twain Award, I knew immediately something was very wrong. There is just no way that the Jon Stewart I knew would voluntarily put himself in a situation where he was publicly celebrated and had to sit in a room with people as they offered him sincere compliments. There was just no way that he would let that happen. Therefore, the only conclusion that I can come to is that Jon Stewart died. He's dead. He's no longer with us, and you're giving him this award posthumously. That is just literally the only scenario that makes sense, and honestly actually makes me feel a lot more comfortable saying what I'm about to say. So if you could just layer in Sarah McLachlan's In the Arms of an Angel under this, that'd be great. I know it might be a rights and clearances issue for you, so really any sad song, but ideally the Sad Dog one. And try and remember, even if it is expensive, it is what John would have wanted. And he is, after all, dead. So, play it now. Perfect, thanks. Jon Stewart's death is a blow to all of us. He was one of the most important comedic minds of his generation, and he will be sadly missed. I know it seems like he hasn't died, doesn't it? That he's still here with us. And I think that speaks to just what a huge figure he was and how long his influence will be felt. And I know that you might be thinking, no, John is here. He's in this room with us right now, and I understand that feeling. I really do. He's in this room too, isn't he? He's in all of our rooms. In spirit. But he's, of course, definitely dead. He just has to be, otherwise this evening makes no sense to me. He just would not put himself in the position where he's spending 2 hours, conservatively, 2 hours, squirming in his seat as he hears how much he means to people. He would rather be dead than let that happen, which is why I'm so glad that he is. He must be. There are so many things that I wish I could have said to him when he was still alive. I wish I could have told him just how much he changed my life, how much so many people owe to him, and how important a figure he's been to so many of us. Also, if I got that chance, I'd probably tell him that some of those field pieces that he sent us on as Daily Show correspondents were an absolute nightmare. I don't think he ever fully understood how bad that was. But I can't tell him any of that, can I, frustratingly, because, of course, he is so definitely dead. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything, John, wherever you are. And thank you to Sarah McLachlan as well. I presume you got that.
Good evening. I'm Stephen Colbert, coming to you live from my secret mountain lair. I really wish I could be there tonight, but unfortunately, Anthony Fauci is standing just outside my door with a taser. I am honored to celebrate my friend Jon Stewart receiving the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, sponsored by America's funniest corporate financial service institution, Capital One. What's in your wallet? Tonight, it's laughter. First, entirely fitting that Jon is receiving the Twain Prize. In fact, I think Mark Twain would be lucky to get the Jon Stewart Prize. Whoa. They have a lot in common. Yeah, they're both brilliant satirical writers, both called out the hypocrisies of their times, and like Mark Twain, Jon also appears to have been born in 1835. Jon's not only a comedian, he's also a prophet. Years before anyone had heard of COVID-19, Jon wore nothing but stained sweatpants and avoided all human contact. He tried to warn us, but we didn't listen. Now, it has been said that a genius is one whose work changes their art form forever, and Jon certainly changed late night. All of us who do topical humor on a daily basis are standing on his shoulders, which reminds me, I do hope you're taking the Boniva, Jon. It looks like you drank out of the wrong chalice in an Indiana Jones movie. Fun fact, I was already working at The Daily Show when Jon took over. I had been there with the first host, Craig Kilborn, God rest his soul. Before Jon changed the focus of The Daily, it was my job as a correspondent to interview unmedicated conspiracy theorists who believe in Bigfoot and aliens who put babies in your butt. But today, those people are in Congress. Now, in addition to being a legend late night, Jon is one of my dearest friends. One of my dearest work friends. And so few people understand the work that we late night hosts do. So how blessed am I that I can have a friend who can just check in with me, or I can check in with him? Do you have any idea how rare a friendship like that is in show business? Rarer still, we didn't turn it into a podcast. Of course, all of us here know that Jon is a brilliant comedian, but his close friends know that Jon's true passion is recreational anxiety. It's his superpower. Instead of a radioactive spider, Jon was bitten by a clinically depressed squirrel. But that is why he's the perfect person to publicly worry about the future of our democracy, why so many people think he should run for president. And I get it. Yeah, he's got a lot in common with Bill Clinton. A keen intelligence, the veganism, the rapid aging, and those early days of The Daily Show were a special time that really had nothing to do with the success of the show. No one was really watching. It was all about the fun we had with each other and about how much we cared about getting the jokes right every day. And that spirit of adventure, that feeling that we were a band of happy pirates, that all started from the top with our fearless and ridiculous leader. And the show really came into its own in the 2000 election. I remember the night that Al Gore conceded after 32 days of indecision and legal wrangling. We finally got to perform all these pieces we've been sitting on for a month. And it was a really great night. And I remember I was sitting at the desk with Jon, and as we went into the last commercial break, I turned to him, and I don't know if you remember this, Jon, but this is true. under the applause, I said to you what was in my heart, what I knew to be true. I said, this is the best job on television. And as well as the show had gone that night, and it did, I know now that what I was really saying to you was the best job on television was working for you. I meant that when I said it in 2000. And 22 years later, I no longer mean that. I have a way better job now. Okay? I make a lot more money. I have a much bigger audience. People chant my name. CBS has a plane I can sometimes use. It's really nice. You can get up and get your own Diet Coke or peanuts or whatever. But I couldn't do my job. I wouldn't have my career if it wasn't for those years with John. If I hadn't seen his example of working with intention, of staying silly while giving a damn, of always doing his best to lead with clarity and treat people with respect along the way. He is the kindest, most thoughtful friend, the fastest mind, the stupidest doofus, and most passionate patriot for whom his love of country is no joke. So, ladies and gentlemen, join me in congratulating the most fitting recipient of the Mark Twain Prize I could imagine, my brother, Jon Stewart.
Steven. Thank you.
He's my
Hello there.
Good speakers. I've been living in Los Angeles for 2 years, and I've never been this cold in my life. I will pay anyone here $300 for Gore-Tex gloves. Anybody? I'm serious, I have the cash. Before I begin, I must point out that behind me sits a highly admired President of the United States and decorated war hero, while I, a cable television talk show host, has been chosen to stand here and impart wisdom. I pray I never witness a more damning example of what is wrong with America today. Graduates, faculty, parents, relatives, undergraduates, and old people that just come to these things. Good morning and congratulations to the Dartmouth class of 2011. Today, you have achieved something special, something only 92% of Americans your age will ever know: a college diploma. That's right, with your college diploma, you now have a crushing advantage over 8% of the workforce. I'm talking about dropout losers like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Mark Zuckerberg. Incidentally, speaking of Mr. Zuckerberg, only at Harvard would someone have to invent a massive social network just to talk with someone in the next room. My first job as your commencement speaker is to illustrate that life is not fair. For example, you have worked tirelessly for 4 years to earn the diploma you'll be receiving this weekend. That was great. And Dartmouth is giving me the same degree for interviewing the 4th lead in Twilight. Deal with it. Another example that life is not fair: if it does rain, the powerful rich people on stage get the tent.
Deal with it. I would like to thank President Kim for inviting me here today. After my phone call with President Kim, I decided to find out a little bit about the man. He goes by President Kim and Dr. Kim. To his friends, he's Jim Kim, J to the K, Special K, J.K. Rowling, the Just Kidding Kimster, and most puzzling, Stinky Pete. He serves as the chair of the Department of Global Health and Social Medicine at Harvard Medical School, spearheaded a task force for the World Health Organization on global health initiatives, won a MacArthur Genius Grant, and was one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in 2006. Good God, man, what the hell are you compensating for? Seriously. We get it, you're smart. By the way, Dr. Kim, you were brought to Dartmouth to lead. And as a world-class anthropologist, you were also hired to figure out why each of these graduating students ran around a bonfire 111 times. But I thank you for inviting me here, Stinky Pete. And it is an honor. Though some of you may see me as a celebrity, you should know that I once sat where you sit. Literally. Late last night, I snuck out here and sat in every seat. I did it to prove a point. I'm not bright, and I have a lot of free time. But this is a wonderful occasion. It's great to be here in New Hampshire, where I am getting an honorary degree and all the legal fireworks I can fit in the trunk of my car. You know, New Hampshire's such a special place. When I arrived, I took a deep breath of this crisp New England air and thought, wow, I'm in this state that's next to the state where Ben & Jerry's ice cream is made. But don't get me wrong, I take my task today very seriously. When I got the call 2 months ago to be your speaker, I decided to prepare with the same intensity many of you have devoted to an important term paper. So late last night, I began. I drank 2 cans of Red Bull, snorted some Adderall, played a few hours of Call of Duty, and then opened my browser. I think Wikipedia put it best when they said Dartmouth College is a private Ivy League university in Hanover, New Hampshire, United States. Thank you and good luck. To communicate with you students today, I have gone to great lengths to become well-versed in your unique linguistic patterns. In fact, just this morning, I left Baker Berry with my Trippy Barry to eat a Billy Bob at the Bima when my Flitzed Francesca was blitzjacked by some D-bag on his FSP. Yes, I've done my research. This college was named after the 2nd Earl of Dartmouth, a good friend of the 3rd Earl of UC Santa Cruz, and the Duke of the Barbizon School of Beauty. Your school motto is Vox Clamantis and Deserto, which means voice crying out in the wilderness. This is easily the most pathetic school motto I have ever heard. Apparently, it narrowly beat out Silently Weeping in Thick Shrub and Whimpering in Moist Sleeve Without Pants. Your school color is green. And this color was chosen by Frederick Mather in 1867 because, and this is true, I looked it up, quote, it was the only color that had not been taken already. I cannot remember hearing anything so sad. Dartmouth, you have an inferiority complex, and you should not. You have graduated more great fictitious Americans than any other college. Meredith Grey of Grey's Anatomy, Pete Campbell from Mad Men, Michael Corleone from The Godfather. In fact, I look forward to next year's valedictory address by your esteemed classmate, Count Chocula. Of course, your greatest fictitious graduate is Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner. Man, can you imagine if a real Treasury Secretary made those kinds of decisions? Now I know what you're gonna say, Dartmouth. You're gonna say, well, we've got Dr. Seuss. Well, guess what? We're all tired of hearing about Dr. Seuss. Face it, the man rhymed fafloozle with snoozle. In the literary community, that's called cheating. Your insecurity is so great, Dartmouth, that you don't even think you deserve a real podium. I'm sorry, what the hell is this thing? It looks like you stole it from the set of Survivor, Nova Scotia. Seriously, it looks like something a bear would use at an AA meeting. No, Dartmouth, you must stand tall. Raise your heads high and feel proud. Because if Harvard, Yale, and Princeton are your self-involved, vain, name-dropping older brothers, you are the cool, sexually confident, lacrosse-playing younger sibling who knows how to throw a party and looks good in a down vest. Brown, of course, is your lesbian sister who never leaves her room. And Penn, Columbia, and Cornell, well, frankly, who gives a shit? Yes, I've always had a special bond with this school. In fact, this is my second time coming here. When I was 17 years old and touring colleges way back in the fall of 1980, I came to Dartmouth. Dartmouth was a very different place back then. I made the trip up from Boston on a mule. After asking the blacksmith in West Leb for directions, I came to this beautiful campus. No dormitories had been built yet, so I stayed with a family of fur traders in White River Junction. It snowed heavily during my visit, and I was trapped here for 4 months. I was forced to eat the mule, who a week earlier had been forced to eat the fur traders. Still, I love Dartmouth, and I vowed to return. But fate dealt a heavy blow. With no money, I was forced to enroll in a small local commuter school, a pulsating sore on a muddy elbow of the Charles River. I was a miserable wretch, and to this day I cannot help but wonder, what if I had gone to Dartmouth? If I had gone to Dartmouth, I might have spent at least some of my college years outside, and today I might not be allergic to all plant life, as well as most types of rock. If I had gone to Dartmouth right now, I'd be wearing a fleece thong instead of a lace thong. If I had gone to Dartmouth, I still wouldn't know the second verse to Dear Old Dartmouth. Face it, none of you do, you all mumble that part. If I had gone to Dartmouth, I'd have a liver the size and consistency of a beanbag chair. Finally, if I had gone to Dartmouth today, I'd be getting an honorary degree at Harvard. Imagine how awesome that would be. You are a great school, and you deserve a historic commencement address. That's right, I want my message today to be forever remembered because it changed the world. To do this, I must suggest groundbreaking policy. Winston Churchill gave his famous Iron Curtain speech at Westminster College in 1946. JFK outlined his nuclear disarmament policy at American University in 1963. Today, I would like to set forth my own policy here at Dartmouth. I call it the Conan Doctrine. Under the Conan Doctrine, all bachelor degrees will be upgraded to master's degrees. All master's degrees will be upgraded to PhDs. And all MBA students will be immediately transferred to a white-collar prison. Under the Conan Doctrine, Winter Carnival will become Winter Carnival and be moved to Rio. Clothing will be optional, all expenses paid by the Alumni Association. Your nickname, the Big Green, will be changed to something more kick-ass, like the Jade Blade, the Sea Foam Avenger, or simply Limezilla. The D plan and quarter system will finally be updated to the 1/64th system. Semesters will last 3 days. Students will be encouraged to take 48 semesters off. They must, however, be on campus during their sophomore 4th of July. Under the Conan Doctrine, I will reinstate tube stock. And I will punish those who tried to replace it with field stock. Rafting and beer are a much better combination than a field and a beer. I happen to know that in 2 years they were going to downgrade field stock to desk stock. 7 hours of fun sitting quietly at your desk. Don't let those bastards do it. And finally, under the Conan Doctrine, all commencement speakers who shamelessly pander with cheap inside references designed to get childish applause will be forced to apologize to the greatest graduating class in the history of the world, Dartmouth class of 2011 rolls! Besides policy, another hallmark of great commencement speeches is deep, profound advice, like reach for the stars. Well, today, I'm not going to waste your time with empty cliches. Instead, I'm going to give you real, practical advice that you will need to know if you're going to survive the next few years. First, adult acne lasts longer than you think. I almost canceled 2 days ago because I had a zit on my eye. Guys, this is important. You cannot iron a shirt while wearing it. Here's another one. If you live on ramen noodles for too long, you lose all feelings in your hands, and your stool becomes a white gel. And finally, wearing colorful Converse high tops beneath your graduation robe is a great way to tell your classmates that this is just the first of many horrible decisions you plan to make for the rest of your life. Of course, there are many parents here, and I have real advice for them as well. Parents, you should write this down. Many of your children, you haven't seen them in 4 years. Well, now you're about to see them every day when they come out of the basement to tell you the Wi-Fi isn't working. If your child majored in fine arts or philosophy, you have good reason to be worried. The only place they are now really qualified to get a job is ancient Greece. Good luck with that degree. The traffic today on East Wheelock is going to be murder, so once they start handing out diplomas, you should slip out in the middle of the K's. And I have to tell you this, you will spend more money framing your child's diploma than they will earn in the next 6 months. It's tough out there, so be patient. The only people hiring right now are Panera Bread and Mexican drug cartels. Yes, you parents must be patient because it is indeed a grim job market out there. One of the reasons it's so tough finding work is that aging baby boomers refuse to leave their jobs. Trust me on this. Even when they promise you for 5 years they're going to leave and say it on television, I mean, you can go on YouTube right now and watch the guy do it. There is no guarantee they won't come back. Of course, I'm speaking generally. But enough, this is not a time for grim prognostications or negativity. No, I came here today because, believe it or not, I actually do have something real to tell you. 11 years ago, I gave an address to a graduating class at Harvard. I have not spoken at a graduation since because I thought I had nothing left to say. But then 2010 came. And now I'm here 3,000 miles from my home because I learned a hard but profound lesson last year, and I have to share it with you. In 2000, I told graduates, don't be afraid to fail. Well, now I'm here to tell you that though you should not fear failure, you should do your very best to avoid it. Nietzsche famously said, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. What he failed to stress is that it almost kills you. Disappointment stings, and for driven, successful people like yourselves, it is disorienting. What Nietzsche should have said is, whatever doesn't kill you makes you watch a lot of Cartoon Network and drink mid-price Chardonnay at 11 in the morning. Now, by definition, commencement speakers at an Ivy League college are considered successful. But a little over a year ago, I experienced a profound and very public disappointment. I did not get what I wanted. and I left a system that had nurtured and helped define me for the better part of 17 years. I went from being in the center of the grid to not only off the grid, but underneath the coffee table that the grid sits on, lost in the shag carpeting that is underneath the coffee table supporting the grid. It was the making of a career disaster and a terrible analogy. But then something spectacular happened. Fog-bound, with no compass and adrift, I started trying things. I grew a strange cinnamon beard. I dove into the world of social media. I started tweeting my comedy. I threw together a national tour. I played the guitar. I did stand-up, wore a skin-tight blue leather suit, recorded an album, made a documentary, and frightened my friends and family. Ultimately, I abandoned all preconceived perceptions of my career path and stature and took a job on basic cable, with a network most famous for showing reruns, along with sitcoms created by a tall black man who dresses like an old black woman. I did a lot of silly, unconventional, spontaneous, and seemingly irrational things. And guess what? With the exception of the blue leather suit, it was the most satisfying and fascinating year of my professional life. To this day, I still don't understand exactly what happened, but I have never had more fun, been more challenged, and this is important, had more conviction about what I was doing. How could this be true? Well, it's simple. There are few things more liberating in this life than having your worst fear realized. I went to college with many people who prided themselves on knowing exactly who they were and exactly where they were going. At Harvard, 5 different guys in my class told me they would one day be president of the United States. 4 of them were later killed in motel shootouts. The other ones briefly hosted Blue's Clues before dying senselessly in yet another motel shootout. Your path at 22 will not necessarily be your path at 32 or 42. One's dream is constantly evolving, rising and falling, changing course. This happens in every job, but because I have worked in comedy for 25 years, I can probably speak best about my own profession. Way back in the 1940s, there was a very, very funny man named Jack Benny. He was a giant star, easily one of the greatest comedians of his generation. And a much younger man named Johnny Carson wanted very much to be Jack Benny. In some ways he was, but in many ways he wasn't. He emulated Jack Benny, but his own quirks and mannerisms, along with the changing medium, pulled him in a different direction. And yet, his failure to completely become his hero made him the funniest person of his generation. David Letterman wanted to be Johnny Carson, and was not. And as a result, my generation of comedians wanted to be David Letterman. And none of us are. My peers and I have all missed that mark in 1,000 different ways. But the point is this: it is our failure to become our perceived ideal that ultimately defines us and makes us unique. It's not easy, but if you accept your misfortune and handle it right, your perceived failure can become a catalyst for profound reinvention. So, at the age of 47, after 25 years of obsessively pursuing my dream, that dream changed. For decades in show business, the ultimate goal of every comedian was to host The Tonight Show. It was the holy grail. And like many people, I thought that achieving that goal would define me as successful. But that is not true. No specific job or career goal defines me, and it should not define you. In 2000, I told graduates to not be afraid to fail, and I still believe that. But today I tell you that whether you fear it or not, disappointment will come. The beauty is that through disappointment you can gain clarity, and with clarity comes conviction and true originality. Many of you here today are getting your diploma at this Ivy League school because you have committed yourself to a dream and worked hard to achieve it. And there is no greater cliche in a commencement address than follow your dream. Well, I'm here to tell you that whatever you think your dream is now, it will probably change, and that's okay. 4 years ago, many of you had a specific vision of what your college experience was going to be and who you were going to become. And I bet today most of you would admit that your time here was very different from what you imagined. Your roommates changed, your major changed. For some of you, your sexual orientation changed. I bet some of you have changed your sexual orientation since I began this speech. I know I have. But through the good, and especially the bad, the person you are now is someone you could never have conjured in the fall of 2007. I've told you many things today, most of it foolish, but some of it true. I'd like to end my address by breaking a taboo and quoting myself from 17 months ago. At the end of my final program with NBC, just before signing off, I said, work hard, be kind, and amazing things will happen. Today, receiving this honor and speaking to the Dartmouth class of 2011 from behind a tree trunk, I have never believed that more. Thank you very much and congratulations.
The C-SPAN networks bring you long-form public affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
Thank you. Thank you. Please remain seated. That's not necessary. Thank you very much. Please, Mr. President, don't stand. That wouldn't be right. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. President, Mrs. Obama, distinguished members of the press, and Bon Jovi. Yes, it's an honor to share this stage with the President. When you think about it, the President and I are a lot alike. We both went to Harvard, we both have 2 children, and we both told Joe Biden we didn't have extra tickets for tonight's event. We also have something else in common. Like the President, I too recently got in some hot water by talking about a public official's good looks. It was the time I wouldn't shut up about that stone-cold fox, Secretary of Transportation, Ray LaHood. Oh, man. I like the cut of his jib. But President Obama, you had some great jokes. It was a pleasure watching you stand up here and do what I do. So now it's only fair that I get to do what you do. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. For the next 15 minutes, I'll be mired in a tense, dysfunctional standoff with Congress. This is going to be fun. Now, right away, I'd like to formally congratulate the President on his re-election. Congratulations. As you all know, the President is hard at work creating jobs. Since he was first elected, the number of popes has doubled. And the number of Tonight Show hosts has tripled. Congratulations. And while I'm at it, I'd like to congratulate President George W. Bush on this week's dedication of his presidential library. Yes, the library has millions of books, articles, and documents, and if you go, you can be the first to read them. You can't hurt me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get going. Right here at the start, I'm going to share something with you people, and this doesn't leave this room. I say this with absolute confidence because we're on C-SPAN. Who doesn't love C-SPAN? Seriously, C-SPAN. It's an entire channel shot with the backup camera on a Ford Explorer. Congratulations to C-SPAN for winning the bid to broadcast this event. They narrowly beat out HGTV2, QVC South America, and the Hilton Hotel How to Check Out channel. That's right, the Hilton. It's great to be here at the Hilton. Is it just me, or is it time to stop using Priceline to book this event? No, I love the Hilton. I really love the Hilton's motto, sorry, the Radisson was booked. You know, I was worried that because of the sequester, we would be forced to hold this event at a less prestigious hotel than the DC Hilton. Then I was told that's not possible. But I do want to thank the Hilton for accommodating us. They were kind enough to reschedule a Cash for Gold seminar. By the way, for those of you here for the Cash for Gold seminar, that's been moved to Salon B on the mezzanine. And if Joe Biden asks, there are no extra tickets for that either. Quick announcements before we really get going, before we continue. If any of you are live tweeting this event, please use the hashtag incapable of living in the moment. Yeah. Yes. 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 Also, to any U.S. senators here tonight, if you'd like to switch either your dessert or your position on gay marriage, please signal a waiter. By the way, speaking of dinner, tonight's entrees were halibut and filet mignon, or as CNN's John King reported it, lasagna and couscous. There's a gavel here, and I don't know why. Here's a fun fact about tonight's food. Everything you ate this evening was personally shot by Wayne LaPierre. Don't worry, it was during a home invasion, though. The fish came in through the window. That wasn't peppercorn, that was buckshot, ladies and gentlemen. Incidentally, you may not know this, but Wayne LaPierre is merely the executive vice president of the NRA. Which begs the question, how freaking crazy do you have to be the actual president of the NRA? He's not even at the top. Also, I'd like to acknowledge that earlier this evening there was some confusion with the seating chart. For a moment, someone accidentally sat Governor Chris Christie with the Republicans. That was awkward, and I apologize. Very awkward. But speaking of tables, before dinner, I had a chance to mingle. You probably saw me. I worked the crowd, I shook some hands, and sold my Twitter account to Al Jazeera for $500 million. They'll buy anything. But it is an absolute joy to be here at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Last year, Tom Brokaw criticized this event for having too many superstars and A-list celebrities. When I told Tom I would be attending this year, he said, "That's more like it." That shouldn't be funny to you. But this is really a star-studded event. This year, you've taken it to new heights. I have to congratulate you, new heights, because you've got some of the guys from Duck Dynasty here. Duck Dynasty! Yeah. The guys from Duck Dynasty are here, which can only mean one thing. The guys from Storage Wars said no. No, I love Duck Dynasty, don't get me wrong, but guys, I really don't think your Streisand whistle's gonna... Oh my God, it worked! She's here! It's incredible! I always hated that one. Hey, now as some of you know, this is my second time speaking at this event. I was last here 18 years ago, back in 1995. A lot's changed since then. Today you can get real-time information on world events from something small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. Back in '95, we called that George Stephanopoulos. I can't see if George is here because there's a crouton in the way. It's amazing to think how much our country has changed in 18 years. Think about it. If in 1995 you told me that in 2013 we'd have an African-American president with a middle name Hussein, who was just re-elected to a second term in a sluggish economy, I would have said, oh, he must have run against Mitt Romney. By the way, no offense, Mr. President, I do congratulate you on your victory, but as a late-night comedian, I was kind of pulling for the rich guy whose horse danced in the Olympics. The demographics of this country have been rapidly changing over the past 2 decades, and I look forward to hosting this event 18 years from now. Then my opening line will be, Buenos noches, es un honor poder hablar en esta escena de los corresponsales de la Casa Blanca. Sí, especialmente al presidente Mario López. But my prior experience has taught me how these dinners work. If the president laughs, everyone laughs. And if the Fox News table laughs, a little girl just fell off her bike. How you doing, Bill? Yes, all the Washington news media here tonight, including the stars of online journalism. I see the Huffington Post has a table, yeah. Which has me wondering, if you're here, who's covering Miley Cyrus's latest nip slip? Who's assembling today's top 25 yogurt-related tweets? 7 mistakes you're making with bacon. That's a real one, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. By the way, just before dinner, I tried to say a quick hello to Ariana Huffington, but she made me watch a 30-second ad first. Yes, a lot of online stars were in the room, but unfortunately, Matt Drudge couldn't make it. Yeah, he had a prior commitment to teach a web design class in 1997. Of course, the Washington print media is also joining us this evening. The print media are here for 2 very good reasons: food and shelter. You know, how are you? You know, some people say print media is dying, but I don't believe it. And neither does my blacksmith. You gotta meet Zachariah, he's great. Man, rough year for Newsweek, which after 80 years published its last print issue. Yeah. Time magazine might be gloating, but they really shouldn't, because Time will outlive Newsweek the way Juliet outlived Romeo. Read the play, it's very smart. Things are so tough for old media that, this is a true story, Reuters is having its after party right here at the Hilton. Because nothing says we're having a great year like having your after party at the same table where you just had dinner. With that in mind, Reuters is asking everyone here to leave a little wine at the bottom of their glass. And to be fair, print media still has a big star in Bob Woodward, okay? Gotta give it up for Bob Woodward, yeah? Yeah? Yeah, earlier this evening, a waiter asked Mr. Woodward if he wanted regular or decaf, and he said, "Stop threatening me." Also tonight, some of the big names in television news. When it comes to television news, we have a divided media landscape. Okay, Fox News is watched by conservatives, MSC is watched by liberals, and CNN is watched by the people who clean the offices at CNN. Oh, it gets worse. CNN's ratings are so low, now when the logo comes up, James Earl Jones says, "You're watching CNN? What the hell?" I have to say, in the past few years, CNN has made some very odd moves. For example, they replaced the popular Larry King with one of the scheming footmen from Downton Abbey. Pierce slides right into that show. "Oh, Lord Grantham. Oh, you'll get yours, Lord Grantham." Hey, it's good to see my old friends at MSNBC. MSNBC's Chris Matthews is here. Chris Matthews has the only show where the commercial exists just so they can wipe the spittle off the lens. By the way, during the Boston coverage on MSNBC last week, Chuck Todd stopped a pundit from speculating on unverified information. Now, there's no joke here. I'm just letting the people at CNN know that you can do that. This is a learning experience. Hello to Fox News star Bill O'Reilly. Bill's become quite the author. He's had 2 recent bestsellers, Killing Kennedy and Killing Lincoln. He also wrote a book that was not nearly as popular, The Natural Peaceful Death of Taft. What were you thinking? The truth is, Bill O'Reilly, and this is true, is now working on his next book due out this fall. This time, it's about the killing of Jesus. It'll be the first time in history Jesus' death is blamed on Obamacare. 2 quick shout-outs to PBS and NPR. Now, PBS, yes, PBS. Those PBS people love to party. Guys, if you get lucky tonight, be safe, wear a tote bag. It works. You gotta love NPR. NPR is still the #1 source for news delivered as if there's a toddler sleeping in the next room. Shh, watch me sing. Shh. NBC News is in the house. Good Lord, they've had a rough go of it, huh? The Today Show let go of Ann Curry. After being told, Ann Curry said, let me get this straight. Al Roker tells the world that he crapped his pants at the White House and I'm getting fired? Al's the reason there are no more tours at the White House. They're still hosing it down. Brian Williams is here. Brian, I'm a big fan of your show, Rock Center with Brian Williams. If you haven't seen it, imagine, this is great. Imagine Brian delivering the evening news on a different floor of the building, a little later with a slightly different tie. It's a mind blower. You gotta check it out. But as I look around the room and I see all the media here tonight, I realize this is all just one big high school cafeteria. That's all it is. Think about it. Fox is the jocks, MSNBC is the nerds, bloggers are the goths, NPR is the table for kids with peanut allergies. Al Jazeera is the weird foreign exchange student nobody talks to. And print media, I didn't forget you. You're the poor kid who died sophomore year in a car crash. Yeah. Cheer up, we dedicate the yearbook to you. Of course, probably the biggest story that people in this room covered this past year was the Republican failure to recapture the White House. Hard to believe the Republicans didn't fare better in the election with the support of celebrities like Ted Nugent and Meatloaf. I guess they overestimated the number of voters who still drive carpeted vans. But the Republican Party is on the mend. One rising star on the right is Senator Marco Rubio, or as he's known in the Republican Party, our black guy. Yeah. By the way, as of today, the U.S. Senate has a record number of African-American senators. Two. In other words, there are now more African-Americans in the Senate than at a Mumford & Sons concert. Thank you, younger people. Paul Ryan. I don't understand. What's she babbling about? Who's this man? Paul Ryan recently. He really burst through last year when he ran for vice president. After the election, Ryan said President Obama was reelected because of the high turnout of urban voters. Then when he was asked just how he liked his coffee, Ryan said, no milk, no sugar, just urban. Well, there's RNC Chairman Reince Priebus. You heard me correctly. His name is Reince Priebus. Tonight, he's sitting right in between his brothers, Lather Priebus and Repeat Priebus. House Majority Leader Eric Cantor is here, or as I like to refer to him, yet another Jewish Republican from the South. Get sold. That reminds me, also joining us is a congressman from New York named Steve Israel. That's right, he's from New York, and his name is Israel. Now there's pandering, and then there's pandering. That's like having a congressman from South Carolina named Jesus H. Gunn. The name's Gunn. Jesus H. Gunn, I tell you. You gotta use this thing, it's fantastic. You didn't use it once. I mentioned Republican Governor Chris Christie earlier. Governor Christie and Shaquille O'Neal are sitting at the same dinner table. So let's give it up for the real unsung hero tonight, their waiter. That poor bastard. He's gonna lose an arm. I believe we have one or two Supreme Court justices here. The Supreme Court seems divided over same-sex marriage. The liberal justices favor it, while the conservatives oppose any lifelong sacred union between two men, unless, of course, it's Antonin Scalia and Clarence Thomas. The hell was that? It's no surprise that Speaker John Boehner isn't here tonight. Speaker Boehner and President Obama are still struggling to get along. President Obama and John Boehner are kind of like a blind date between Anderson Cooper and Rachel Maddow. In theory, they understand each other's positions, but deep down, you know nothing's ever gonna happen. Speaking of nothing happening, we're all hoping, of course, that nothing happens with North Korea. And that got me wondering, what is with Kim Jong-un? Now, in the past, we've had really scary enemies like Saddam Hussein and Hitler. Now, suddenly, our nemesis is a pouty teenage boy who dresses like Rosie O'Donnell at the Emmys. Kim Jong-un doesn't understand that we aren't afraid of him. What that guy doesn't get is that we already have an unstable peninsula that will ultimately bring down America. It's called Florida. Yes, it is. Yes, President Obama has a lot on his plate right now. But he's now at that very nice stage where there are no more secrets left to come out about him. We all know that as a child, he lived in Indonesia. He studied at a Muslim seminary and occasionally ate dog. So clearly from the beginning, he was a kid who had his eyes set on the U.S. presidency. Check, check, and check. Here I come. Now, I know the relationship between the president and the press can seem a bit strained at times. Some in this room have even accused the president of being distant and aloof. When I asked the president about it earlier, he said, "Oh," and then walked away. Of course, it's only natural, but Mr. President, your re-election was a little less exciting than the first time around in 2008. On election night in 2008, you celebrated with hundreds of thousands of people in Chicago's Grant Park. It was fascinating. This time around, you split a char dog with David Axelrod at the Wiener Circle. It just didn't have the same buzz. And by the way, I have a question, and I think some of you also have this question. It's been several months since you were re-elected, sir. So I'm curious, why are you still sending everyone 5 emails a day asking for more money? You won! Do you have a gambling problem we don't know about? Did you put it all on Gonzaga? You did, didn't you? He did! President Obama has already made a lot of changes in his second term. Sir, you recently appointed John Kerry and Chuck Hagel. Very smart move. You appointed the only 2 people in the United States who look even more tired than you. It's a great strategy. Mr. President, you're going to leave office as a very young man, and yet the presidency has taken its toll. I don't want to alarm you, sir, but you're starting to look like a judge on Law and Order. Just say you're on thin ice, counselor. You could have that part right away. Seriously, Mr. President, your hair is so white, it could be a member of your cabinet. He can handle it. Speaking of the cabinet, the president recently picked his new Treasury Secretary, Jack Lew. It gives me great joy to know that if the president ever has to let him go, he'll get to say, "It's not Lew, it's me." But the quote I hear the most about the president is that he's always the coolest guy in the room. That's what everyone says. He's the coolest guy in the room. All right, but here's my question. Who else is in that room? It's not hard to be the cool one when the other guys in the room are Biden, Hagel, and Kerry. I'd be cool, too, if I was stuck in a room where Tom Vilsack is showing Stephen Chu how to do the Harlem Shake. Now, I've made some jokes about the president this evening, and I'm looking forward to my audit. It's coming. I know, sir. It's coming. But I would like to take a moment here and change gears and say something to the president regarding the events of the past 2 weeks. Some of you may not know this. I grew up in Boston. My parents still live there. And my brother Luke raised his family in Watertown. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. President, for visiting that great city and helping its people begin to heal with your inspiring new words. It made a huge difference. It's been said recently that you don't mess with Boston. As someone who grew up there, I'd like to echo that sentiment. It's really pretty simple. If you're gonna pick on a city, don't choose one where 9 out of 10 people are related to a cop. Don't do it. It's stupid. And that includes myself. I have one more thing to mention before I go. Everyone's obsessed with Washington these days. You all saw how you went crazy for House of Cards, Homeland, and of course this event tonight. Hollywood can't get enough of your world. Well, tonight I'm excited to announce that Turner Broadcasting is going to make a major television miniseries about the big power players here in Washington. They just finished the casting, and I would like to announce who is going to play who. This is big. Vice President Joe Biden is going to be played by Bob Barker. Former White House advisor David Axelrod will be played by Higgins from Magnum P.I. This was also produced by Steven Spielberg, by the way. Representative Paul Ryan will be played by Mr. Bean. Senator Chuck Schumer will be played by Grandpa Munster. Senator Harry Reid will be played by the old man from the American Gothic painting. Fox News CEO Roger Ailes will be played by Boss Hogg. We signed the deal. Speaker of the House John Boehner will be played by Tan Mom. Secretary of Homeland Security Janet Napolitano will be played by Paul Giamatti. Former White House Chief of Staff and Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel will be played by Stewie from Family Guy. Secretary of State John Kerry will be played by an Easter Island head. I cannot tell those two apart.